Over the years, Marvel and DC have been each creating their own cinematic universes, with the MCU starting with Iron Man and the DCEU starting with Man of Steel. Each cinematic universe took off in their own ways, with the MCU being pretty much the most successful film franchise of all time, with the DCEU not so much. Not so much to the point where the upcoming Flash movie is going to reboot the whole thing. Now, you guys know that I love the MCU, and I've had my fair share of enjoyment with only a few DCEU movies, but always knew that they had potential to get better. So, what if to try and make the DCEU better, we just place its whole world and history into the MCU, effectively combining both worlds into one. This would make for a pretty giant universe, but one that I think both franchises can benefit from, especially the DCEU. So, today, my bud Ethan and I are going to be going over through how different the universe would be if we combined both the MCU and DCEU.
Also, make sure to go check out Ethan and I's podcast over on the podcast channel. Thanks.
With these two universes merged together, that means that the entire history of the universe has to have changed. We know quite a bit about the backstory of the MCU, but not much about the DCEU, so this will be somewhat speculation. What we do know is that the New Gods, led by Darkseid, go through conquering the universe and attempting to find the anti-life equation. Just like in the Zack Snyder Justice League movie, he would eventually find Earth and attempt to conquer it with the mother boxes and get the equation. However, the people of Earth hold him off. The humans, the Atlanteans, the Themyscians, and the Greek gods. That's not all, however, as there is a Green Lantern there, confirming that the Green Lanterns do indeed exist, and one of the first Black Panthers would probably be there too, to defend the planet. Just like in Justice League, Darkseid would lose his first world ever, and lose all three of the mother boxes. The three mother boxes would be taken, one by the Themyscians, one by the Atlanteans, and this time, one by the Wakandans. Even though the Black Panther is enhanced, he is still a human, and Wakanda is still the safest place on the planet, so the Black Panther would take the mother box and hide it in Wakanda in case Darkseid ever returns.
Darkseid would lose the location of Earth, and, in tow, the mother boxes, so he has to find another way to rule the universe. He eventually learns of the existence of the Infinity Stones, and begins a new search to try and find all of the stones to make every living being in the multiverse bend to the will of Darkseid. On Earth, things would move on, with the next notable event being the birth of Black Adam. Except during Black Adam's rampage on the Wizard Council, he's locked away by the Wizard Shazam and the Ancient One. With Black Adam sealed and most of the Wizard Council dead, Shazam stays behind to find a new champion, while the Ancient One goes off to found her own school of mystic arts. Nothing else really notable happens from here on for a few thousand years, until we move into our first film event in this scenario, Wonder Woman.
In 1918, Steve Trevor crashes down on Themyscira, kick-starting the main events of the Wonder Woman film. Since this film happens pretty far in the past before most of the Marvel events start, nothing would affect this movie at all. So it plays out exactly as normal, with Ares being defeated by Diana and World War I being stopped right there. Now in the film, Ares does state that he wasn't really the one pulling the strings on mankind, so Hitler would still rise to power and kick off the events of World War II in the 40s, even without Ares' influence. While in the canon DCEU, it's unsure of what Diana was exactly doing during this time. We're gonna make it so that she actually tries to do something and helps during the war. Of course, it wouldn't be anything large scale like killing Hitler or anything, but mainly just doing what she did in Wonder Woman by saving small towns and such. Most people have no idea who Wonder Woman is, since she's not making her appearances very public, but on the other end of the world there is a new hero making a rise to power, and doing it in a very public way. Captain America. Steve Rogers managed to get his super soldier serum, and make his way to fame and stardom on Broadway promoting war bonds. Wonder Woman would have definitely heard of him, but I doubt that she would have really looked into him much right away due to him seeming like more of an actor than a true hero. Though her curiosity gets the better of her, so she begins to investigate more into Captain America, by using resources she still has from her World War I buddies.
After looking into him more, she finds information on Johann Schmidt, who has turned into the Red Skull by a failed super soldier experiment. He is a member of Hydra, the most dangerous division of the Nazis, and apparently he has a weapon of mass destruction on his hands called the Tesseract. Diana has of course heard stories of the fabled Infinity Stones from her mother, and knows that the Tesseract is one of these stones, the Space Stone to be exact. If Red Skull has his hands on an Infinity Stone, he could create weapons that even she couldn't beat. After all these years, she finally decides to make her appearances public again, putting on her Wonder Woman armor, and rushing in to stop the Red Skull. She arrives to the base right at the time when Steve shows up to save Bucky and his unit. The two battle off the Hydra agents together, with Steve being blown away by how powerful this dame is. She doesn't have much time to explain to him who she is, but she does tell him that they need to get the Tesseract away from the Red Skull, as it's one of the most powerful weapons in the universe. The two team up, with Steve going to save Bucky and the rest of the POWs, with Wonder Woman tracking down Red Skull and stopping him and Zola before they can escape. Red Skull attempts to put her down, but even though he has the super soldier serum in his veins, he is no match at all for Wonder Woman, and is left beaten to a pulp. Wonder Woman takes the Tesseract from him and meets back up with Steve and the others so they can escape. Zola managed to get himself spared by Wonder Woman, so he is able to take the unconscious Red Skull and do his best to nurse him back to health, so they can get their revenge.
The group make it back to their base, with the army celebrating on how Captain America and Wonder Woman managed to free the soldiers and acquire the Tesseract. Diana doesn't trust the main US Army that much, but she does trust Steve, so explains to him all about her backstory on Themyscira and how she managed to help end the World War I. So she wants to do her best to stop this war as well. Steve is kinda weirded out by hearing about gods and stones from space, but hey, if a wimpy kid like him can become a super soldier, anything can happen. Diana joins up with Steve and his group of Peggy, Bucky, and Howard Stark, with the group entrusting the Tesseract with Howard so he can try to use the stone for good. Peggy becomes inspired by seeing Wonder Woman fight on the front lines, so asks Howard if there's a way she can fight on the front lines as well. Using the power of the Tesseract, Howard is able to create the Hydra Stomper, which Peggy can use to help out Captain America and Wonder Woman fight against Hydra. The group basically becomes the face of the Allies, with them not becoming the Howling Commandos, but a society that fights for justice. They become the Justice Society of World War II, with their leader Wonder Woman leading the charge against Hydra. With Red Skull mainly out of the picture for now, since he's recovering, Hydra needs some new soldiers to help combat the Allies, and this is where Zola is able to track down Dr. Poison and recruit her into Hydra so she can use her genius to fight them back. With Dr. Poison a part of Hydra, this makes a full assault on any of their bases pretty dangerous, as the Hydra soldiers can just release Dr. Poison's super mustard gas on the Allies and take them all out. Thankfully, this isn't an issue for Wonder Woman, as she can survive it. With the Tesseract powering the Hydra Stomper, it is able to bypass the gas as well, so Wonder Woman and the Hydra Stomper are sent in together to stop any missions where the gas could be an issue, with Captain America and Bucky off to the side for support. With Dr. Poison distracting the Justice Society, Red Skull has been off to the side thinking of other ways to deal with them, when he gets a big break. Apparently, when there was vibranium stolen from Wakanda to create Captain America's shield, another, more important item was stolen as well, the Mother Box entrusted to mankind. The Hydra agents managed to recover the box and send it to Red Skull so he could use it to change the tides of the war.
Red Skull makes a full recovery by using the Mother Box's power. With the newfound power of the Mother Box, Red Skull is able to make up for the absence of the Tesseract. Their Mother Box was a far more powerful power source than the Tesseract ever could be. With this box, he could power his most ambitious project yet, the Valkyrie. This bomber was originally designed to carry enough bombs to take out New York, but with the power of the Mother Box, why not go further? Why not take out any country who is against Hydra? Yes, his dream taken even further than he could ever have imagined. The only ones who could stand in the way of his dreams was the JSA, and stand in the way they would. After taking down another Hydra base, the JSA learns of the whereabouts of one Arnim Zola. They learned that Hydra uses train to transport resources and Super Hydra soldiers between bases. After learning this, the JSA suits up to stop the train and capture Zola. The raid is successful with the capture of Zola, destroying the train and keeping everyone alive. One minor hiccup occurred when Bucky was thrown from the train, falling into the snowy abyss. though Wonder Woman was able to save him as she lassoed him at the last second. With that success over, they regroup back at the base and extract information about Red Skull's plan. It takes no time at all to get this information, not even needing the lasso of truth. He tells them that the Red Skull plans to use a mother box to power the Valkyrie, and that his first target is America, starting with New York. The JSA arrive at the destination Zolo told them about, with Red Skull using the power of the mother box to power his weapons enough to keep them at bay. Thankfully, the JSA aren't pushovers, and especially with the power of the Tesseract in their hands still, they're able to do more than enough on the Hydra agents, and infiltrate the Valkyrie to try and stop Red Skull. All of the JSA fight with the Mother Box enhanced Red Skull, and even though Wonder Woman is able to put up a good fight, the rest of the JSA isn't able to do much, with Bucky being thrown out of the plane, presumed dead. Angered, Peggy goes to rip him to shreds with the Hydra Stomper, though his power is way too great, and with this power, he's able to rip Peggy from the Hydra Stomper. Unfortunately, with the Hydra Stomper destroyed, this means that the Tesseract is now out in the open, and even though the rest of the JSA try to get him away from the Tesseract, he's too powerful, and he now has both the power of the Mother Box and the Tesseract in his hands. He laughs that he is now the most powerful being in the world, until the Tesseract activates, and he is launched up into the air, gone from this planet forever.
The battle against Red Skull is won, though the Valkyrie was damaged beyond repair in the fight, meaning that they won't be able to land it by a normal means, and if they blow it up, they threaten the mother box going off and causing a nuclear explosion. Cap says he's going to try his best to land the plane on the ice to stop the destruction, with Wonder Woman pleading for him not to. She's been here before with her Steve, and she doesn't know if she can go through that again. He says that there's no other choice and she needs to get Peggy out of there or they'll all die. Reluctantly, Wonder Woman grabs Peggy and lassos the two out of the plane, while Steve crashes it into the ice, preventing the mother box weapons from going off and saving the world. After the death of Captain America, Wonder Woman goes back into hiding once again. After not having one but two Steves die in a plane crash during a war, and her not being able to do anything about it, she hides herself away from humanity in shame, even though they did win the war. The world praises Captain America as a hero, and while the world does know about Wonder Woman, she does her best to make them forget about her, going off as Diana Prince once more.
And that's where we're going to be ending things for right now. I really hope you guys enjoyed this crossover of the MCU and DCEU. Next time, we're going to be moving into the events of the next film, which is, unfortunately, Wonder Woman 1984, and a bunch of other stuff that happens between then and the current day of the MCU and DCEU. So, if you guys like this, make sure to like and subscribe, as it always helps out the channel very much. And before I go, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of my amazing patrons. In the official patron tier, we have Nathan, BBB, Bossmaker, and Michelle Wilmez. In the moving up in the world tier, we have Patrick Sandelin, John Lister, Senshenron92, Oak Woodtree, Boris, Monal, Blake Foyer, True Lightning Striker, Semroth, The Boy Swaggy, and Faisal Alshari. In the VIP patron tier, we have 11726. And finally, in the God tier, we have Tails Homie 99. Thank you, especially Tails Homie 99. You are an absolute god. And thank all of you so much for watching, and until we meet again. See you later!